Hey everyone, welcome to LifeShot podcast. Once again, we are here talking to another great guest. Today we got Scott Hardiman, who's a confidence coach who coaches people privately one-on-one and helps to make a difference in their lives. Scott, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No worries. And I was just we found each other on the UK business networking on Facebook, so that was pretty cool. And it's when you reached out to me, I thought, yes, it's definitely something I'm into as far as interviewing people like yourselves. I've interviewed some life coaches before, and so I'd like to get your aspect or your thoughts on what it's like right now as a life coach, being in these strange times, as you mentioned. What's it like? I mean, what are you seeing in people? What are you finding with your clients, or at least people that you maybe have dealt with in the past, or maybe new clients?
Yeah, like you said, it's a very, very strange time for a lot of people. They go from running a business or they're doing their job at 100 miles per hour or very close to that, and all of a sudden it stops. So for people's mindset, for their confidence, for their internal dialogue, it can be really challenging.
Yeah,
I used to see a fair few people face to face. Naturally, that hasn't happened because of everything that's going on in the world. And it's all looking at a screen now. So it still works really, really well. I get very, very positive results from people. It's the transition for them as well as me as a coach, but we work it really well, and they're seeing great results. I suppose like I said, they're running at 100 miles per hour. They have to stop. A lot of people, because I'm a confidence coach, a lot of people, when it comes to confidence, they rely on external factors to enable them to feel confident. If that makes sense. So there may
yeah,
be someone compliments them or says, "Oh, you've done a really good job there, fantastic," or "Oh, you look nice today." All of these things, when you're in lockdown, when you don't have that so much, and
yeah,
you rely upon that to maybe give you that self-esteem boost,
yeah.
it can knock your confidence. So the process of having to go from that to not doing much to then going back to it
Yeah.
is definitely an experience that people are struggling with at the moment.
So now, talking about people who maybe not being coached by you, but what do you think some of the struggles are that people might be facing at this time? You know, what would be, well, obviously, what's the problem, and then what could be some solutions for getting them out of those mindsets?
Yeah, so a lot of people are experiencing anxiety because one of the things to come from this is that we often forward think what's going to happen, how are we going to react to this, and when you forward think, you create anxiety.
Okay.
So anxiety is very, very apparent in a lot of the people that I speak to. One of the ways to do that is to try not to forward think too much.
Mm.
Be present in that moment. Although recently I've just spoken about being present. How often do you hear that? Be present. Be
Yeah.
present in the moment. And
Yeah.
it's a perfect, great. We need to be present, but it's not as easy sometimes as that. When we've been practicing not being present for so long, it
Hmm.
can't just happen. So it takes a little bit of time, and people get confused, and I did as well when I was trying to be present. It's about people might try meditation, do it for maybe 3 days, find that it's actually quite difficult, and then stop.
Hmm.
That's because we can't just be present. We need to learn how to maybe focus a bit more, concentrate a bit more. And that is basically a level down from being present. So,
Mm.
for example, I would say for someone is to practice being better at focusing and concentrating on a task. And it could be speaking to someone. How often do you speak to someone? And, well, what did I should have made that phone call earlier. And
Hmm.
then you come back to the conversation, you think, what did they say? Again, that is a perfect, how can you be present if you can't
Mm.
concentrate on one thing? So
Okay.
take a step back, concentrate, practice concentrating. Repetition is the mother of skill. So
Mm.
keep practicing, bring your attention back to that person. If you're speaking to them, you drift off, that's okay, bring it back. The better you get at that, the more present you can be, the less forward thinking you do, the less anxious you are.
Mm.
If that makes sense.
It does. Unfortunately, I was thinking about Dan Depani, who mentioned concentration. Now, it's just gone off the. I, le- I went to the conference, London Real, last year. I think it was in September, and he was one of the speakers, and he mentioned about your mind and how you focus on something. Or I wish I could remember what he said, but it's kind of like a rang a bell about what you're saying now about concentration and focus, and then being in the present moment. But what's your thoughts on, let's say, I was reading a book called Happy Money by Ken Honda, pretty cool book, and it really at the time, for me, things financially were okay, and then there's times in my life where all of a sudden my credit card's gone way big, and then I'm thinking, okay, how do I repeat those mantras to myself and not, like you say, forward think too much about what the negative aspects are. So I think sometimes it's easy to say be in the present moment, like you say, to people, but actually when times are tough and when it's really like the something's happening, how do you actually bring yourself back to that, like, okay, calm down, it's not going to be so bad, and I suppose some of those things you're saying now, some of those tricks about practicing it in those moments where you can, does that help you in the future, when you're going to really be under the squash?
Yeah, because what that does is it creates an awareness within you. We'll go
Yeah.
about our day just thinking all sorts of things, and we don't really know what's going on out there. So by practicing focus and concentration, we're essentially being aware. And when we're aware, we can make changes positively to the way that we want to live. But if we're not aware, we can't. So it's about bringing that awareness to our thought processes, what's going on in our mind. And then when you do that, it helps when you move forward, because you can catch anything that's negative that might be bringing you down and limiting you, and take action steps for that not to have an effect on you. If you're not aware and you just go through life just accepting the thoughts that are going on without actually thinking about them, then it's difficult.
Yeah. So Jim Quick speaks about this when he says the ants, automatic negative thoughts. So you got to get rid of those first. So I thought that was
Yeah,
quite a nice little acronym, ants. Have you heard of that?
yeah, I love that guy. He knows his stuff.
Yeah. I haven't really joined his masterclass, but he's got some masterclass on Mind Valley, but I haven't done that yet. But yeah, very, very interesting. So what do you think are some of the things that are confidence blockers? So what would somebody who's dealing with confidence issues, what are some of the things that maybe are causing them not to be able to be confident? Is it something in their childhood? Is it the automatic negative thoughts they keep listening to? Is it a combination of things? What in your opinion, what might it be?
Yeah, so the first thing I do when I work with someone that is low in confidence, and something that I was low in confidence for a very long time. And the first thing that I did, and the things that I do with my clients, we work on beliefs. What do we believe to be true
Okay.
about ourselves? If we believe that we are inadequate, then what do you think is going to be happening in the world around us? If we truly believe that, it's going to affect everything that's going on. So, and we're all different. We all experience things differently. We have some similar qualities, but it's the way that we see a situation that will affect, and the way we think about it, that will affect us as people and our experiences in the world. But typically it comes down to our beliefs, what we believe to be true about ourselves, which then dictates everything that goes on.
So
Yeah.
it's about, maybe if your belief system is not good about yourself, some people may feel unworthy. So that's what I want to talk to you about as well, which is that feeling of unworthiness. And I think a lot of people might not admit it, but they might feel, well, I'm not worthy of having X amount in my bank. I'm not worthy of having that job. I'm not worthy of having this partner, for example. Those are sometimes the things that we secretly tell ourselves, and those are the beliefs we have about ourselves. But I think, the root of that might be deep, and dealing with those issues and telling us a different story can be quite difficult. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like I said, with regards to beliefs, it's if you feel like you're not worthy or you're inadequate in some way, it could have been from past experiences. Maybe not just one, two, or three, but 4 or 5 or 6. And it could be you go to your parents and you say, "Oh, will you come and play with me now?" They go, "No, not right now. Go and do your own thing." Okay, so is that someone turning me down. I'm young. No, it's just one time. Happens again, that's twice. You go to school, you ask someone out in the playground, and they say, no, go on, do one. And that's 3 times. You don't get the job that you want. These constant things, and then you maybe start to believe that you're not worthy, that you are inadequate, and you create this belief, and it stems from those experiences. But often I tell this story, it's an elephant story, and you'll notice that a baby elephant in a circus will, you may have heard this, they will take the baby elephant and they'll put a rope around its neck and put it to a stake in the ground, and they'll leave the elephant there, and the elephant won't want to be there. It will try and pull away from the rope and the stake, but it can't, it's not strong enough. And the trainer will only start training that elephant when the elephant stops pulling away from the rope and the stake in the ground. Why? Because the elephant has created the belief that it's not strong enough to pull away. And then you'll see an adult-sized elephant in a circus, just a rope around its neck on the floor, standing there, not actually doing much, and not walking away. When we know, you and I know, that it can just walk away if it wants to. But the belief that it created when it was young has stuck with it, and it truly believes that it's not strong enough to walk away. And it's similar to us. That's how we feel. Something has happened in the past, maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, whatever that may be, or enough pain for it to happen. We create this belief, it lives with us, and it affects us in our day-to-day life, those feelings of inadequacy, that feeling of not being enough.
And let's say somebody comes to you and they say, okay, I'm lacking confidence. I need a coach to help me through with this. How do you help them set up that future vision of themselves and change their belief systems? Because you as a coach, I assume, got to hold that vision for them, right?
Yeah, I mean, often we have an idea of what we want. You have this vision. I want to be successful. I want to give talks. I want to be public speaking in front of thousands of people. So that's for me, I'd love to be doing that. That's a vision I have. And it's quite nice when that happens with people, because they go, well, I have a rough idea of where I want to get to. Oh, great. Okay. And when that happens, it's easy to work with, because it's about taking progress steps. There's so often in our life, we'll just be looking for that self-esteem boost. So that new watch, that new car, upgrade in house, and it feels good at that moment. It's got that instant gratification. So that self-esteem, it feels good, but it doesn't last so long. So we want to get to Z, but that self-esteem boost is just going to send us in a circle. We're going to look for more. We're going to look for more instant gratification. The one thing that's going to get us to where we want to get to is small progress steps towards that vision. And a new watch isn't going to do that for you necessarily. So my goal, for example, of standing in front of thousands of people doing public speaking, I'm working on it. What would get me there? Progress steps. It's doing a public speaking course, doing an event for 10 people. Those small steps might not give me instant gratification, but it's a small step towards my ultimate goal. And the one thing that gets me there is taking action. So if people have a vision and that's where they want to get to, action, and action all the way through. Because what that does is that it builds confidence within you, because as you start to take steps towards that goal, you become more competent in what to do to get there. And when you feel competent in something, you feel more confident. And it's simple, it's beautifully simple, but it's really, really, really effective. Action, competence, confidence. Like that makes sense.
Yeah. So I suppose it's those small little wins that will eventually get you to the big win. Just thinking about the book I'm reading, Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Great
So,
book.
He talks about how, I suppose when you talk about, if you coaching clients, because I also coach clients and we help them through the habit change process. So it's about saying, okay, what do you want to achieve in the future? And let's think about what are the stoppers, what's stopping you from achieving your action steps. So maybe you set up some action steps for clients. Come back next week. Hey, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client, what happened? How did it go? And then they say, oh, I didn't actually do this and that. Okay, what's stopping you from doing that? let's coach you through that. And I think it's when I coach them through it, it's about okay, you want to become this, or you want to achieve this, and this is your big motivating factor, and this is the future vision you have of yourself. So we kind of coach them around that. So, and you think, okay, then you try and get the blockers out the way. So you think, you try and almost find out what the habits are that those people are doing that's causing them to stay stuck. And also, I suppose, what do you think about that? Because I also want to talk to you about the growth mindset as well. But I first want to see your thoughts, or hear your thoughts on what you think habits and the role habits play in keeping us stuck.
Habits, super important. And luckily enough, we can create habits, and we can break them. And that's something I was going to say, is that when we self-doubt, when we have these negative thoughts, self-doubt is a decision not to try. Because you've got that thought, you think, I can't do this, you decide not to take that action, you decide not to try, therefore it's the killer of confidence. Self-doubt is the killer of confidence, because you decide not to try, you don't take action, action leads to confidence. But self-doubt, decision not to try, a decision not to try is a habit. So we know, you and I know, that habits can be formed, but they can also be broken. So if you are in a consistent habit of deciding not to do something, the good news is that can be broken. And that's what I love about habits, is that you can form great habits that lead you in the direction that you want, but you can also reduce or get rid of the ones that don't serve you. And for me, that's the same for me within coaching. That's a massive factor when I work with people. What habits have you got? Which ones do you want? Which ones don't you want? And we break it down, we change them, and it makes the world of difference in their life.
So what do you think of somebody who says, okay, they want to start a sideline business? Because I got a client like this. So he wants to start a sideline business, and I speak to him about how if you don't have that sideline business yet, or at least you're not successful yet in that sideline business, it doesn't mean that you're not capable of doing it. It doesn't mean that you are lacking in some kind of intelligence to do it. It's just that you lack the skills right now in order to make that happen. And so gaining those skills can be gained by anybody. It doesn't necessarily mean that only certain people can gain the skills in order to be successful at that. There goes Siri. Sorry, Siri's listening to me. Put that off. So yeah, what's your thoughts on that? How would you get someone to say, look, I know you want to achieve this, but I know you're not achieving it right now. But how do you talk them through that?
I would ask them what it is they needed to do, because we all know the answers deep down. If someone said to me, well, you're not, I said to someone, a coach, I don't feel like I can stand in front of 100 people just yet. That coach, I imagine, would say, okay, what do you think you can do to get better at that? And I would say, practice. And then you go, okay, cool. So what can we do in order to practice? Book some public speaking events. Okay, great, do that. And I suppose it's about giving people the confidence to say, yes, I need to work on this skill, and finding a way to do it. For me, when I go through something with a client, it's at the top, I've got a goal, and then we chunk it. We chunk the steps needed to get there. And that's a really powerful technique. So I need to do this, and then once I do that, I do this. And once they can see the structure to get to the goal, it makes it really, really powerful. And they go, okay, I can do that next. And then they take action, they get better at it, and then they boost their confidence, and they grow even more. Does that answer your question?
Yeah. There's so many things that I think about when you mention these things, and one of them is Grant Cardone from 10X, and he says that success is my responsibility. I've got it written on my board here. And so he's pretty hardcore, and I don't agree with everything he says, but some of the stuff he says is really cool.
Great ideas need to be acted on. Like, we need to take action towards them, otherwise they just stay dormant and nothing actually ever happens with them. It's all well and good having a great idea, having this vision, But if you don't act on it, if you don't believe in yourself and take steps towards it, have a strategy, have the right belief system to enable you to implement that strategy, then it's just going to stay dormant. And then you'll get to however old you are, you'll look back and you'll regret because you didn't act on it and do it. So in my mind, if you've got a great idea, create that story in your mind, create that belief system that's going to allow you to get there, take action, and see where you get to. And if you come up with any problems, great. Problems are awesome because it allows you to learn and grow. What do they say? I read something recently. Winners do not lose. Because every time that things don't go their way, it's an opportunity to learn and grow and win again. And that's why people that are super successful throw themselves into these challenges and these tasks, so that if they do fail, it's feedback and they learn and grow from it. And that's really important from my point of view, from my mindset, from my client's mindset. It's failure, things not going exactly as you want them, it's just feedback. It's an opportunity to grow, learn, and develop.
And I suppose failure only comes when you do try something. So thinking about what you're saying, like if I've got a whole lot of things written on my board here about my future goals, but if I don't take steps to actually make them happen, I'm just looking at a few of these. I mentioned this on my podcast just 2 days ago. I was talking to Liz Marsland, and one of the goals I have this year is to do a planche, which is like a push-up without your legs on the ground, right? So it's pretty hardcore move. Wow. And in order to get there, I'm gonna have to take some action steps. It's not gonna come just automatically, right? So I've got some pretty big goals that I have on my board here, and I'm looking at some of them saying, yeah, actually I'm doing something about that one. I'm doing something about that one. Damn, what am I doing about that one? And kind of scares me a little bit sometimes to take action on those ones. I heard a friend of mine the other day telling about her, I think it was a friend or something, I can't even remember, but the father, there was this dad who wanted to really achieve these great things. He was also a life coach, business coach, but things didn't really go well in his life. He didn't achieve those big dreams that he wanted. And unfortunately, he took his own life. But that's like the extreme example of somebody who might have these high goals and high expectations of themselves, but they get to that point of not achieving that at all and really becoming disappointed in themselves and feeling like a total failure. But I suppose it's about those in-between steps, about you being here, your goals being here, and then what's happening in between.
Yeah, progress. If I was to say to you, nothing in your life is going to change now. You're not going to have a new tea bag. You won't be able to have any new biscuits. Your business is going to stay stagnant. No one's going to come on your podcast. No progress whatsoever.
Yeah,
it's going to make us sad. You're not going to like it very much. And everyone would say that. If you could say it to anyone down the street, nothing's going to change in your life. No progress whatsoever. They'd be shocked. No, that's not very good. Progress steps make us happy. And that's what we need to remember. We're not always looking for this self-esteem boost. It's just progress steps, no matter how small, that help us get to where we want to, that ideal self of us. Then you'll notice that in general you'll be much happier as you just take those small progress steps, whatever they may be. But interestingly, I was thinking this then. Something I heard a while ago now is the 5-second rule. I don't know if you've heard of the 5-second rule.
Yeah.
Where it kind of stops you from procrastinating and taking action. And basically what you do is when you have this thought of doing something, you count down from 5. So you go 5, 4, and then you start taking action towards doing it. So maybe it's a phone call that I don't really want to make. I'll go 5, 4, 3, and maybe dial it at 3, put it to my ear at 1, and then I'm on the phone. And the reason that works is because any longer than 5 seconds, your mind's going to think of all sorts of excuses or lots of self-doubt for you not to do it. But within 5 seconds, and you start moving and doing it, the likelihood of you actually achieving it is greatly increased. And also because you're counting down, there's an end. Say 5, 4. If I was to count up, I'd know that there's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll keep counting, get to 6, all the self-doubt and all those thoughts come in, and then I don't take action. So for me, that's been really powerful. Whether it's, I need to do some exercise, 5, 4, and then I'll get up,
and do it.
3, 2, and I'll do it. Yeah, because it doesn't give my mind enough time to go, hey, but I've got that washing up to do, or yeah, but remember what happened last time? You twisted your ankle 3 years ago. All of these things, they just it can really stop you from taking action.
5-second rule. I like that. Something our listeners can implement. So when you said, have you heard of the 5-second rule? I was thinking, yeah, I thought I heard that. But actually it was the 5-minute rule by L. Halrod. He wrote the book called Miracle Morning, or the Miracle Equation. So his methodology is, the miracle equation is, what's the word? Extraordinary effort plus something unshakable faith, or it's unwavering faith. So extraordinary effort plus unwavering faith over a long period of time will get you your miracle. So you put in the effort. You're quite nice, isn't it? It's a simple equation. It's like, okay, this is I want to put in a lot of effort, sustained effort. I'm not going to give up on what I believe my goal is. So that's the unwavering faith. Like, I believe I can get that, and sustain that over a long period of time. So the reason I'm reading that book is because I tend to have big goals, and some people don't have massive goals. And I want to actually talk to you about that if I remember after this. But is I've got these big goals, but to get these big goals, it requires a lot of effort over a sustained period of time. And I think that's where I kind of lose out sometimes, and I'm sure a lot of people do as well. Other people, should we say?
Yeah.
Have you seen that with your clients or yourself, maybe?
Yeah. What sort of long-term goals?
Yeah, sort of kind of giving up before so that you put effort in the beginning, but then it kind of tapers out.
Yeah,
like you want to lose 20 pounds of weight, right? And you start well in the beginning, then you taper out.
Yeah, that's because we come across problems. And a problem for a lot of people is, oh, I'm going to hide away, and I'm not going to push anymore because I don't know how to overcome that problem. And that's why coaching is so powerful, because you have not necessarily just a coach, but someone you can talk to give you that accountability, because they can say, okay, well, how can we overcome this? And sometimes when someone asks you that question, just a light bulb. But maybe for a lot of people that are listening, if they do find that they've got their long-term goals, they maybe lose 5 pounds or 20 pounds, but can't seem to go any further. Think of, for this sort of changed my mindset when I came across problems. So you get to 5 pounds. It's been 2 weeks and you haven't lost another pound. That's a problem. You go, oh, well, I'll just go back to my old ways because it's comfortable, and people are comfortable being uncomfortable. It's just a way of life. So, but see problems as a sign of life.
Okay.
And I want to live. So if problems are part of that, great. And that kind of changed my mentality. And that now I just accept problems. And a lot of people do that I speak to. Oh, right, there's a problem, but shows that I'm alive, and that's what I want to be, right? So I'm gonna, how can I overcome that? And you just ask questions. How, what, why? It's not easy. I'll make it, I'm not saying it's easy by any stretch of the imagination, but it's doable. And if you feel like you aren't quite getting to your goal, there could be other factors, such as, so I tend to go off on tangents, such as you've got your goal at the top, you're chunking up towards it, you then come across a stumbling block, that problem, or I can't seem to get over this. Sometimes you just need to take a slight diver off of that task that you need to do to get to your goal, to learn something new, to enable you to come back to it and then go up even further towards your goal, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I like the idea of problems means that you're alive, and I suppose the analogy of the eagle flying in the air, if it did not have wind resistance, it would not be able to fly. So the resistance is something that actually enables him to fly.
Yeah,
right?
So, love that. I haven't heard that before. I love that. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. So what about I've met a fair few people who are quite content with just being where they are. Almost, they don't really want to change. And I think you might have mentioned when you said people are comfortable being uncomfortable. But some people actually may just be, for someone like myself, who've always got like these high goals and these big things that I want to achieve. meeting people who are less ambitious is sometimes a bit odd to me. Like, why wouldn't you want to do this and that? But I suppose there is this balance to be struck between, there's different personalities, first of all, different characters. There's also this balance to be struck between striving and kind of accepting. So, or at least just kind of being in the moment, like you say, in the moment, but more relaxed, more like don't complicate your life too much. Why complicate things and make it? Why can't I have 2 jobs, 3 jobs, where you're trying to buy that £1 million house where it's going to cause you undue stress? You know, where do we draw that line of okay, I understand that you want something better, but is that really going to be beneficial to what's most important to you? So what is most important to me is my family, right? And if I am doing stuff that's really ambitious, like I want to be a shareholder in my company, or I want to get that position as unit general manager, or whatever it is that going to bring me closer to what is most important to me right now? And I think there's that you get those people who are highly ambitious who want that, but actually they want that for the reason of maybe having a better life for my family. But in doing that and trying to get to that really ambitious goal, this family starts to fall apart because they're not spending time with them. They're kind of missing that, and then life just gets too much. And so that striving can also cause problems. But there's also the other side of the coin, which is not striving at all, not even having any goals, but just whatever happens to me, happens to me. You know, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, if people are content not striving for things, that's fine.
Mm,
Absolutely. It's their own life. If they are happy just going along, doing what they're doing, quite content,
mm-hmm,
don't want for anything, perfect. But if they really aren't like that, deep down they want some change, and they maybe mention that they want change and do something about it.
mm,
And that might sound brutal, but there are so many resources out there. If you are not happy where you are,
mm,
sometimes you've got to push. You've got to strive for more.
mm,
But if you're happy, by all means, stay. Good on, it's great. Happy for you. Brilliant. If you're happy where you are, fantastic.
mm,
And I wouldn't say I'm not happy. I'm similar to you. I've got big ambitions. I've got big goals
mm-hmm,
and dreams. And it's not because I'm not happy. I want more. I was actually speaking to a coach about 2 days ago, and he said, what do you want? Why are you doing what you're doing? There were a couple of things that came up, and obviously family, everything like that. And I said success. He goes, oh, that's interesting. Why success? Because success is quite broad.
mm-hmm,
What is the reason for success? And I'd never been asked that question before. I thought, oh, interesting. I never actually asked myself that question. Why do I want success?
mm-hmm,
And ultimately, it comes down to, from my childhood, and not having. I attribute success to being financially secure. That's how I put the two together.
okay,
And I was never financially secure when I was a youngster. It was a very disjointed lifestyle that I had. And I don't want that for my family. So success for me, why do I want that? It's because I want to be financially secure. And I'm quite content admitting that. And
mm,
that's why I push hard, and it makes me happy. I'm not happy now, but I'm striving for those things, because what will make me really happy is being financially secure for my family, for me, and that's pretty much it.
mm,
But people that are very driven, I think that's awesome. Like, carry on, keep doing it, because if it starts to affect your relationship with your family,
mm-hmm,
if you're into your personal development, the more you delve into that, then the more likely that relationship won't dwindle. It won't affect family relationships, because you'll be open to conversations, you'll be open to being honest,
mm-hmm,
and that those family members seeing you on your journey will understand, and they'll be with you, and they'll be on that journey with you as well. So be in tune with yourself, be in tune with growing, because part of growing isn't just taking your business to the next level, it's growing up in your mind as well. And when you do that, there's so many things that are available to you.
mm. I like that idea of growing up in your mind as well. It makes me think of our community. Sort of life at the moment is difficult for all of us, in that the social interactions are very different to what they have been. And so we're social creatures by design. And so I'm just thinking about the future of our communities and life. I'm sure we'll get back to some kind of normal soon, but being a person who's mature and wise is a benefit to society and also to your community. So I see that coaching for me is a way in which to, and you spoke about personal development as well, personal development, and along with that, if you can have a coach to hold that vision of your future self, to say, this is where I want to be in the future. And when you not just when you get there, but as you're getting there, you're feeding that back into helping other people. So I think helping other people, and really when you are at a wise old age, and hopefully you're wise when you get to that wise old age, is a time when you can mentor younger people as well. So this is, I don't know why I mentioned this, but maybe somebody's listening who's getting on now. So maybe they 50, 60, 70, wherever it is. And you really want to help younger people. And I think that you must never feel like younger people don't want to learn from the older people. Because like I said, we're social creatures. We need to interact. We're not islands living by ourselves, but we are people that need relationship. We need that interaction. And if you think about communities that sort of were closer knit together, so talk about hundreds or thousands of years ago, those communities really helped each other, and the young and the old interacted. Whereas nowadays, the old interacting with the young is far less common, should we say. So that wisdom being passed down from one generation to the other is not as maybe efficient or as good as it could be, in a way. So I like the idea of this personal development and growing wise in your old age, instead of becoming disappointed and despondent about not achieving your goals. I think it's good to talk to people and say, are my goals realistic? Or is it something that I should be going for? Is it something that's going to really align with my purpose and vision of my life? And so that you don't grow to this age of 60, 70 and you say, I've achieved nothing. My life was a total waste of time. I have nothing to give back to community. That would be a sad thing.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why we do what we do, and why not people do it. For sure. Yeah, love that.
Yeah. So life coaching 2.0 after Corona pandemic subsides. What's your plan, Scott, to take it to the next level? I mean, how different is it going to be, or is it business as usual when it's all over?
I don't know. I feel like the online world has worked really well for me. I like you've just said, I like social interaction. When you're sitting with someone coaching, it can be really powerful. You can get very energetic, get people to stand up. Not that you can't on video, but it's just you get that extra bit of a buzz, which is why I'm striving for doing talks, because you get that mix. But I think a majority of my work is going to be online, which I'm happy with. And it's you never really know when you are coaching people what their experience is going to be like. But everyone I've coached since has had really positive experiences, and they've enjoyed it just as much as I have. So it's great. And ultimately, I want to help people, and I will do whatever is necessary to help them. I know what it's like to struggle. I've had anxiety very, very badly, low confidence for a majority of my life, and I took myself out of it. I developed and I grew myself, so I know it can happen for others. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's why I started doing what I was doing. And now my vision is big. I'm going big, and we'll see what happens. Yeah.
I like that. And so what type of people would you be helping? You mentioned that you helped, business executives, for example, maybe managers or whatever it is. Is that your target market, or is it more broad than that?
So I to be honest, I will help whoever I can if they need my help and if they show the commitment. Because as you'll know, when you're coaching someone, as long as there's commitment there, people will get results. Basically, I ask for energy when I'm coaching, and fascination. Two things, because when you put all the energy in, you get results. When you get fascinated with the subject, you get results, because You just do. You just do. Very simple answer. But what was I going to say? I can't remember. I lost my train of thought.
Well, how do you, your program? So let's say you're guiding someone through a confidence program.
Yeah.
Is it a set program? Are we just talking like 12 weeks? Are we talking 6 months? Are we just talking a few sessions? How do you structure it?
So for me, I have an 8-week confidence program, which is specifically designed for confidence and everything that sort of comes with it. And it's an 8-week step by step. And we cover a variety of different things, coaching calls, and there's a platform which they get access to, with videos, techniques, and tips to go from there. But I also do smaller coaching sessions, but the minimum I do is 4, because I feel that 4 sessions, you need at least 4 sessions to really see true benefit. People get benefit from 1 session or 2 sessions, but to really make a bigger impact, I do a minimum of 4, because it shows me commitment, first of all, which is important when you're coaching someone. It's important for that person that wants coaching, because in their mind, I think, well, I've committed to this. I'm going to put my energy into it. I'm going to get fascinated with the subject, and you get much better results and you achieve more in that space of time. So at the moment, I've got 8-week coaching program, confidence coaching program.
Yeah.
And I will coach people for a minimum of 4, and then we see how it goes from there.
Cool. And you're on a few platforms. So I see you got your YouTube channel, which we'll put in the description of this show once we publish it. And also a link to your website where people can get hold of you. And then you've got a link to the 3 video, it's a free training video, 3 series, isn't it?
That's correct. Yeah. So it's a 3-step video series. It's pretty cool. It will help you eliminate your negative self-talk and just make room for that confidence. Because confidence, how can we feel truly if we don't understand and be aware of our thoughts and be able to deal with the negative? And it covers an NLP technique, which is neuro-linguistic programming. Yeah, 3-step video series. It's basically scotthardiman.com/video-training if people want it.
Yeah. So NLP is quite a buzzword in the personal development world, isn't it? So have you been through, did you study on NLP?
Yeah, practitioner. Yeah, so I've studied it. It was an online practitioner course, which I've done an in-person course as well. So yeah, I don't fully use NLP. I've used a number of different ways in which to coach. It's something that you can call upon. It's just having that base, that knowledge, that foundation, and you go from there.
Very good. Scott, it's been great talking to you on the LifeShot podcast. It's good to hear from a fellow coach as well. Not that I'm a life coach per se, or I suppose I am a little bit, because everything kind of revolves around life, doesn't it? No matter what it is, health, relationships, job, career, all that stuff. It's been good having you on the show, Scott.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No worries. And to all the listeners, thanks for listening into the LifeShot podcast. Until next week, it's Clint Grove and Scott Hardiman signing out.